Don't let her get in your car. Not today, not ever. That's the note my daughter's teacher slipped into her backpack, and I found it 3 days after my ex-husband started picking her up from school. My name is Renata. My daughter Poppy is 7. When Dale and I split last year, we agreed on shared custody, alternating weeks. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Then 2 weeks ago, Dale asked to start picking Poppy up on Wednesdays too, just for dinner, just to spend more time with her. I said yes. Why wouldn't I? He's her father. The note was folded into a library book, small, cramped handwriting. Mrs. Halloway, Poppy's teacher. I called the school before I even finished reading it twice. Mrs. Halloway asked to meet in person. She looked nervous the whole time, glancing at the door like she expected someone to walk in. She said Poppy had started drawing pictures during free time, the same picture over and over. A house with a red door, a man standing outside it. Poppy always colored his hands black. I asked why that mattered. Mrs. Halloway said Poppy told her, very matter of fact, that the man in the drawing wasn't allowed to touch her with clean hands, only dirty ones, because clean hands were for other people. She said it the way kids say things they've been told so many times they don't know it's strange. My chest went tight. I thought about the last 3 Wednesdays. Dale picking her up at 5, dropping her off at 8. I thought about how Poppy had gone quiet at bedtime, how she'd started sleeping with the hallway light on again after 2 years of not needing it. I confronted Dale that night over the phone. I didn't tell him about the note. I just asked carefully what they'd been doing on Wednesdays. He said dinner, homework, normal stuff. Then he mentioned, almost in passing, that his girlfriend Priya had been joining them. First I'd heard of a girlfriend. First I'd heard of anyone else being around my daughter unsupervised. I called Poppy's pediatrician the next morning and asked for an emergency appointment. Said I had concerns. The doctor examined her and found nothing physical, which should have relieved me and somehow didn't. She said the drawings and the language were worth taking seriously regardless, and referred us to a child interview specialist through the county. The interview took place 4 days later, behind a one-way mirror. I sat in the next room with a caseworker named Ito, my hands shaking around a paper cup of water I never drank. Poppy talked to the specialist about the drawing, about the house, about the man with dirty hands. The man wasn't Dale. It was Priya's older brother Sam, who'd been staying at Priya's apartment, where Dale had been taking Poppy without telling me, instead of his own place, because his lease had lapsed and he hadn't wanted to admit it. Sam gardened. He came in from the yard with soil under his nails and used to grab Poppy's hands and pretend to plant her like a flower, laughing, dirt smearing onto her wrists. Poppy hated it. She never told anyone because Dale had laughed too, and she thought that meant it was supposed to be funny. There was no abuse. There was a 5-year-old with a specific, literal 7-year-old logic about hands and dirt, and a man who didn't understand personal space, wrapped around a father who hadn't told me where our daughter had actually been spending her Wednesdays. I sat in that observation room and felt something crack that wasn't relief and wasn't quite anger either. It was the realization that I had built 3 days of dread on a misunderstanding, and that underneath the misunderstanding was a real problem anyway. Dale had lied about his living situation. He'd let a stranger handle our daughter without asking me. He'd laughed while she flinched. Ito told me I'd done exactly the right thing, that erring toward caution with a child is never a mistake, even when the fear turns out to be about something smaller than you feared. Dale didn't see it that way. He said I'd humiliated him, dragged a caseworker and a specialist into an innocent afternoon, made him look like a suspect in his own daughter's life. Now our lawyers are negotiating new terms. Supervised exchanges only, no unapproved third parties, full disclosure of where Poppy stays. Dale calls it overkill. I call it the bare minimum. Poppy still draws the house sometimes. The door isn't red anymore. I haven't decided yet whether that means she's forgetting it, or whether it means she finally feels safe enough to draw something else.